Alright. Oh my god, did I not have to replay through the whole game? Could I have just changed my pronouns here? What a waste of my time. What a waste of my time. Whatever. We can't... Oh, we can pull it higher. Never mind. Oh, it's locked. It can't go lower. Oh, God. Alright, well, we're gonna stay direct love. Yeah. We just bumped up our love. Yeah. Both. Alrighty. So, we get to design our cove again. So for step 3, so is there a reason, I'm pretty sure in step 3 he's 18. Is there a reason in 5 years he looks like he aged 1 year? Like, guys, do you see that? What's going on with that? He's been 18 for 5 years. Anyway, this is the hair we're going with. The other hair was, I don't like it. I don't like this hair. I don't like this. Nuh-uh. Nope. You can't break up with Cove if you've went insane and wanted that. This hair, I don't like this hair. You see this hair? I mean, this hair isn't bad, but it's not it. It's not it. It's not bad, but it's not it. This is the hair for me. Alright. Let's see. I don't think I want him wearing glasses. He doesn't need glasses. Does he need an earring? I don't even see earring 2. Girl, where's your other earring? I see earring 1, but I don't see earring 2. What? Weird. Anyway, we can put an earring on him. We can put an earring. There was no... puberty hit him like a truck? There wasn't much room to grow? Oh my gosh, apparently. Alright, so... Okay, that's a nice shirt. That's cute. Oh, we can make him wear a tank top. I don't know, I'm leaning towards tank top. Let's see, pants, jeans. Let's go tank top. What fits with this tank top? Okay, a nice pair of jeans. Some white pants. I don't like that. Some yellow pants. Some kind of cargo shorts. Really get that straight vibe in here. You know, I think we might have to put on some cargo shorts. I think that fits him. Alright. Here are his cargo shorts. It's just how it has to be. Does he need that many bracelets? I know he likes bracelets, but I don't think he needs that many. I don't know. He looks a little dumb wearing bracelets on both hands. That's just my opinion. Yeah, let's just... You can wear that. You like his long hair, NGL? Not I. Yeah, I don't like the necklace. We're not doing the necklace, Cove. Oh my god, what a cute PJ. What the heck? Alright. What's the difference in the pants? Black or white? Or black or blue? Alright, let's just stay all blue. Okay. And let's move on. Swimsuit. Okay. Okay, only 2 colors. I think we'll go with blue for him. And for formal wear... Okay, that's kind of cute. Let's go shirt 1, clearly. We don't need this boring, blackish thing. We need this, whatever this is. This pattern, I like it. Alright, I think we're done. He's warm. Sporty? Why did it take him over to sporty? He's mixed. He's mixed. Alright, since you're romantically interested in Cove and are old enough to start being physically affectionate more seriously... Hey, I was old enough when I was 13. You can choose what initiative level he has throughout step 3. I was old enough when I was 13. Making sure the player experiences what they want is important to our life, but always putting your choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided. So we've added some flexibility in how it works out. Low initiative means that Cove will occasionally ask to touch the MC, and in those situations there will always be an opportunity to say yes or no. For example, he won't simply lean over and kiss the MC as a greeting, or in an emotional moment. Every piece of physical interaction will either be initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Middle initiative means there will be these certain times when Cove requests to touch MC. Many chances to initiate affection on your own, and also Cove will pretty regularly give affection automatically. One example would be giving the MC a kiss because he's happy or emotional or something else. In other situations, you can choose not to make the first move in order to give Cove the space to be the one to act afterwards. Overall, Cove can get romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. High initiative includes everything middle does, but it also means that player agency will be reduced to a degree, in favor of having Cove give physical affection even more frequently, with less prompting. Instead of all the major affection-giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on, some will instead be replaced by Cove acting automatically. The level is only recommended if you're very comfortable with physical affection and prefer to simply see it happen, rather than always holding the reins on it. However, this level is mostly relevant if Cove ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. Situations where high-level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship. The parts that are also included in the middle initiative will be seen whether you're dating or not. Once you pick your level, it can't be changed later, so keep your full playthrough in mind when deciding. We hope you enjoy the initiative option you decide on. High initiative! The start of classes ended the relaxed free days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of the school year. Schedules, homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much. With school and after-school activities, God, this is exactly what he feared. There weren't many opportunities for him to take a trip out to your neighborhood. Sometimes you'd hear that he was at a training camp or something like that, but you weren't always sure what he was up to. But you still kept in touch as best you could. Fine. We'll throw him a bone. The Jeremy kid did disappear after that summer, and no one heard it from him again. Where he went or what he might up to was a mystery. You saw more of Miranda around. Since you had hung out with her on her birthday, she had opened up to you. The two of you talked regularly. She was the same towards Cove. After a while, all three of you developed a real friendship together. More summers came and went like the waves on a shore coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started to visit Sunset Bird, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend Cove made due to them both being ocean-obsessed. Get away from my man. Terry was more than glad to befriend you too. Someone close to Cove had to be good company, she felt. You were pleased to get along with her. Funny enough, Terry was also extremely tight with Miranda, who she had known for even longer than Cove. The four of you were able to create a small friend circle. As for your home life, the Tsubasas also had developments. Changing laws and public perception countrywide made it possible for your moms to openly wear their wedding rings without questions. Though they had a wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized everywhere in the US. That was a good day to say the least. Yay for my lesbian moms. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. She no longer worried about perceived childishness as she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again, although most people used Liz. She eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. Good. It was a lot for you to adjust to your older sister being gone. Liz never let you forget her role in your life, though, and kept in touch. Girl, I am just ghosting her calls. Cole's relationship with his family improved over the years. Kyra visited several times after that summer, and things became easier between the two. He was also closer with his dad than ever before. You knew they talked more, and that helped prevent a lot of friction before it could start. And Cove only continued to open up to his parents and the rest of the world. He was so bright he shone. He would willingly join conversations, make jokes, and put in an effort not to use overly blunt phrasing. Cove remained interested in everything across the spectrum. He loved to learn and stay inside, but he also loved to get outside and participate in more physical activities. He was multi-talented. Matured affection? Things had shifted between you and Ko, but in a way that most couldn't see. After all this time, he wasn't just your neighbor. He wasn't only your friend or even a guy you were interested in. You were in love with him. You loved Cove. You knew that fact for certain. There was no one else you had ever held those feelings for. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into your present, and then it was simply the past. It was strange to look back on it all. Wait. I already read that. Even though the most fundamental parts of your life couldn't last longer, you felt that the most pointedly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over and you would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You'd be directing your own life. Girl, high school's already over. That was where you were currently, the summer after school had ended, that first summer of true freedom. What used to be a reprieve from the typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. One fine summer morning, you took in what had become a very special scene, the whole family having a meal together. Is this Elizabeth? She's on her way to becoming an Amazon queen and I hate it. Your big sis Liz still hadn't lived at home full-time for a couple years, but she arrived last week to spend the season here since it was an off semester for her. She wanted to make sure she was in town because you had now also graduated high school, so who knew how much rarer these moments would become in the future. You watched on as Liz laughed good-naturedly over our comment Mom made. Her Elizabeth-only mindset had been a phase. Nearly any nickname was welcomed at this point in her life. Strangely, even though she had moved away, you'd lately felt close to her. You'd felt closer to her than you had in a long time. Lovely glow-up? Yeah. Hate it. Hate this glow-up, honestly. Still, I hate her. I don't care if she's a queen, I hate her. You idly scooped up more of your breakfast and chewed absentmindedly. You are a vegan. I don't even know what a polotarian is. Excuse me? What the heck is a politarian? I'm a pescatarian. And the meal you had reflected that. Your moms were happy to make food that fit your needs, along with dishes for themselves that didn't, though you often made your own food nowadays. But it wasn't only you who had a diet that excluded certain things, as Liz had been a vegetarian for a while. Oh no, look at the wrinkles around their eyes. My queens! Elizabeth is sucking away your energy. She's sucking away your Amazon queen powers. Oh no. How could she be doing this to you? Oh no. Oh, Elizabeth, why? Oh god. That means it, okay. Polo. Oh duh, Polo. Should have been obvious. Yeah, that's only eats chicken. But yeah, alright. She's like a vampire just sucking them away. I hate it. I hate you, Elizabeth. You think you can usurp these queens? No. Conversation had gone on idly without you fully taking in the words until your ears were piqued when Ma started on a bit of town gossip.
Uh-huh.
They're still hot, they are. And so that's how I heard the news. Alright, now stop bearing the lead and tell us, what is this so-called news? Ma giggled as she cast a look across the table, satisfied that she had everyone's attention. Well, it turns out that the Donnells won't be renting out the condo up the street as per Sunset Bird tradition, for the first time in what must be nearly 2 decades. A chorus of gasps and shocked expressions were had all around. After the initial shock, your eyebrows pinched. Mom may consider them by name, but you and Liz always viewed them exclusively as the mean old couple who would yell at anyone under 25 who crossed their paths. Your mom continued on with the story, spreading strawberry jam over a piece of toast as she did so. Oh my god, did you see Elizabeth opened her eyes? You just think you're all that, don't you, Lizzie? Oh god. They've decided not to make big trips anymore. Friends and family will be visiting them at their home. Ko's parents only had one child sucking the life out of them. Yeah, we'll see how they've held on to their beauty. Yeah. Alright. That's nice for them. Have a good summer, mean grandparents with no grandkids away from us. That's a relief. It's kind of sad they can't travel anymore. My thoughts exactly, Liz. Be nice, kids. You don't want to end up like them, do you? You and your sister crack smiles at the joke.
Well?
At least they won't be here to yell at my children anymore.
Lonnie.
And that blunt comment got laughter from all three of you. Engrossed in the conversation once more, you continued to chat with your family until the meal was over. Look how broad her shoulders have gotten. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even read that. What did it say?
Lonnie.
Ah! Okay, we have to go through the transition again because I wasn't reading it. Because I was looking at chat. Third time's the charm. Okay. As it went, once the food was eaten, the cleanup had to be done. Liz took the role of washing the dishes and passed them to you for drying and putting away. You had a set of cups in front of you that needed to go on the top shelf of the cabinet. Was I tall? No, I'm just average. Ko's the tall one. That was simply your lot in life. You'd always hover the expected height for your age. You felt great about how things... You wish you had stopped going earlier. I wanna have that Shota energy when I'm... even when I'm an adult. Like, no. Your height was something about yourself that you were always quite pleased with. Oh my god. Get away from me, you queen. Liz shook you out of your internal musing by starting up an impromptu conversation. She seemed to be voicing the thoughts that had been buzzing around in her own head. I have to say, going back for another semester this fall is pretty intimidating. You'd think after the first year or two, I'd have a handle on things, but no. You stole a glance at her, still placing cups in the proper place. I guess it's only fair. My first round was pretty general classes, and year 1 of my architecture major was the basics. Now it feels serious. I actually have to know some things. The laugh she gave was flippantly airy, but the way she scrubbed at the plates held more force than necessary. I know you can handle it. Put a tiara on her head. I know, right? How sweet of you to believe in me. Thanks. Your older sister's mouth quirked into a small smile. I'll be fine one way or another.
Oh.
Oh, but I'm not trying to scare you away from college, if that's even your plan. What is going on with that anyway? You had a solid plan set for a long time, you came to a firm conclusion recently, you had a general kind of idea, you had absolutely no idea. I don't know. We have a general idea, maybe. You answered the question as much as you were able and willing to. Liz's smile grew more reassuring as you did. You made it through 12 years of full-time education already. You've got plenty going for you. Sometimes it felt hard to believe your public schooling experience was over. In the end, you had graduated at the top of your class, you soared through with high marks. How about we have high marks? Oh, I picked an extra choice. You had high marks. Sometimes it felt hard to believe your public school experience was over. In the end. Let's see. Wait. No. This is what I'm trying to hit. And you're going to miss it. Oops. You're glad I was behind you. You'd achieved a lot and could take what you learned with you moving forward. Liz picked up on the silence her question ended up creating. She decided it was time to make a closing statement on the topic.
You're a good boy.
Thank you. I know I'm a boy. Thank you. That's very affirming for me. Do what's best for you, and we'll be here to back it up. Thanks. You're a good big sister. At that, Liz happily passed the final dish your way. She waved a soapy-soaked hand as a farewell and moved on to her next task for the cleanup job. You refocused on getting the last pieces put back where they belonged. You eventually moved on to a new chore. That was interrupted by the sound of your cell phone. Cove! It was the phone's default ringtone. You'd use a silly novelty song as the ringtone. Yeah, novelty song. You casually picked it up from the table where you had placed it earlier. The phone was a couple years old at this point, having been a 16th birthday gift from your parents. They decided which model to get, but you picked the color. It was... green, just like Cove. And it was just a phone. You didn't do anything to decorate it. A special charm? That's gay. The screen lit up and you gave the little device a swipe with one finger. You were informed by caller ID that it was Lee. You weren't surprised. Despite having busier and busier lives and not living in the same town, you still had a good relationship with your cousin of the same age. Especially once the miracle of both of you having your own phones actually happened. She got hers first, though. Tapping at the accept button, you answered her call. A familiar, bubbly voice came through right after.
Hi.
Ooh, okay, she's looking cute. Hey, Joseph. Sup? Oh, we're pretty cool now, saying sup. I trust I'm not interrupting anything major. Only cleaning up around the house. Oh, then you're welcome for my call. A distraction from that must have been desperately needed. Yes, thank you, my dear cousin.
My pleasure.
She giggled, and you could hear the jangling of jewelry she must be wearing. Oh no, is she the type that's always wearing jewelry all the time? Oh no, she's probably wearing the most gaudy garbage. Nothing amazing is happening for me either. I'm bored and felt like chatting. My morning shift ended, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Woo! That's good. Girl, I don't want to work. Unlike you, Lee had started dipping her toes into the workforce as of late. It made keeping in touch frequently even more complicated, but you both managed. What about you? It's been pretty normal. Oops.
Cool.
That's you then. So how's Mr. Cove Holden doing? There was a teasing bent to her tone. She was never willing to let up on what was going on between the two of you. But that name was incredibly familiar to your ears. Cove, your next door neighbor for the past decade at this point. But he was far more than just someone who lived on the same street. You vividly remembered the summer day you expressed feelings for each other as little 13-year-olds. You officially started dating years ago. We better have. And you were in love with him, but that was one thing you hadn't admitted. Why would I not admit that? But you didn't want to talk about that at this point in your life? What? What are these options? Whatever, I hadn't admitted it yet. Are you even surviving without the boy being 10 feet away at all times? Or is everything right in the world again when he's back? No, Lee, he isn't here. Just like he wasn't here yesterday or the last time you asked, or the time before that.
Sorry.
Aw, my bad. Can you blame me? Doesn't it seem like he should have made his grand return already? Plus, I want to visit soon, and he needs to be there too. Give her a sip of tea and she wants a gallon daily? Oh my gosh. You could understand where she was coming from. This was certainly outside the norm. For the past couple months, and the last few weeks especially, Cove had been going to his mom's place in Nevada. The two of you still regularly stayed in contact over texts and calls, but still, your mind had began to drift back in time to all the prior trips he'd taken to visit her. Almost every year he'd have to go away for a while and then he'd be back. It was just, oh my god. I mean, it would make me sad and lonely, but I wouldn't be pissed about it or anything. Let's see how this comes out. It made you sad and lonely. Your mom's helped you ship out care packages to him and his mom. You gave him special treasures to take with him before he left. Yeah, I gave him a special treasure called a pic of my a-hole. Enjoy that while you're gone. Did OBS disconnect again? Hello? Cause it just, my computer just said it did. I don't know what's going on with OBS. Are we back? I think we're back. OBS is crazy. Anyway. You kept an eye on the house for him while he wasn't there. His house? Why would I do that? Anyway, we shipped out care packages. It was always full of really great stuff. He sent you regular letters in return. That's how it was in the past, but lately he'd been trying to see her as much as he could before taking long trips to another state became too impractical to do. His part-time work had become full-time soon. Or he could be moving somewhere else for school. Cove hadn't actually been entirely clear what his plans were after graduation. Cove was hesitant to speak on that, even with you. It couldn't be avoided forever though, you both knew that.
Well?
Letters? Does he not have a phone? He's just one of those guys, you know? He misses the old days. He's one of those guys that's like, things were so much better back in the 50s. That was the time I wanted to be alive. You know those people? Oh, back when black people got sprayed with fire hoses. Those are the days I want to return to, you know? Those people. Maybe we should switch this up to a non-Cove related topic. That works. The rest of the conversation rolled on. Not much longer though. Lee had to go and you needed to finish your responsibilities around the house. The both of you exchanged goodbyes and you went back to what you'd been working on before the call came in. Oh god, put on your fucking gorgeous hat. Oh my god. The whole outfit just comes together. This is only an outfit you could have in a visual novel, in fiction. There ain't no way you're gonna find something that matches like this so perfectly. Unless this came as a set. Unless you bought this as a set at the store. Like, there's no way. As you wrapped up the last of your chores, you were approached by Liz wearing a cheeky smile. I've got Mom's keys. Want to get out of this tiny town to do some shopping in a real city? Yeah, it's been way too long since I've gone anywhere exciting.
Good.
It's the Chinese tourist hat? What? Good. I'm driving. We're 18. Why don't we know how to drive? She could drive if she wanted. Go get your wallet and anything else. We're going now. Her Sunday's best. Church girl? Is she a boy? She dressed like a church girl. Anyway. With a nod, you made your quick detour to collect your stuff from your bedroom. You had money saved up from gifts you'd received. After making sure you were both fully prepared for the long haul to the largest city in the surrounding area, you buckled into your car. It was a smooth ride there, with light conversation about what shops to stop at and the radio blasting. The trip there breezed by, and in what felt like no time at all, you had gone from cruising down the road to cruising through the mall. Liz had her interest to check out, and you yours. Sure, we're the same as when we were 13. When turning a corner down a new length of the mall, your eyes caught a little gift store. Your friends and family had recently given you many presents for graduating high school. You realized you wanted to get a graduation gift. You wanted to get a graduation gift yourself to give to Cove. You had a gift of your own ready to give to Cove when the chance came. So let's get a graduation gift for him, I guess. Graduation may have already come and gone, but Cove wasn't really around then anyway. You kept an eye out for something good, though you might have something nice for him at home already. Eventually, the mall was fully explored, with every shop of note being checked over. Rather than going home, you decided to walk over to some smaller stores nearby. Liz had many thoughts on that topic.
So?
Honestly, malls are not a bastion of society. Even as smaller stores require extra distance, the brands are so much more. Then your sister abruptly stopped speaking and walking right in the middle of the path. It was a good thing no one was behind her. She seemed to entirely shut off for a moment. Liz? The attempt to catch her attention was unsuccessful. Something else had all her focus. Before you could puzzle out what might be happening, she began to mumble out of the corner of her mouth. Joseph, don't draw attention, but look! What? With a harsh whisper and a subtle jerk of her head, she urged you once more.
Hey!
Look! You followed her gaze as best as you could to a large bunch of colorful teens strolling down the same path. Okay. Your face backed over to you faced back over to your sister with a confused expression and an unspoken question. What were you supposed to be seeing there? Joseph, doesn't one of them seem familiar? Oh, she's got blurry. She was practically bouncing at this point, so you looked over the group again, and this time you saw what she was seeing. Oh my god, is that Shiloh? Girl, it's been a hot minute. Amongst the collection of strangers was brown hair, gray eyes, and a lot of freckles. That's Shiloh, our Shiloh from when we were kids. Yep, that was definitely him. I can't believe it. He's honestly just there. That's hilarious. That's incredible. Oh, but how do we talk to him? We have to pull him away from all of those other people, and what if I'm wrong? Your mouth opened to reply, but she cut it off with her own answer to the question. I've got it. I'll shout the name Shiloh, and then we can just act like it wasn't us. If he responds to that, we'll know without a doubt it's him. Joseph, keep an eye out to see if he looks. He's still a simp, don't worry. I know it. Let's try it. Likely without even hearing what you had to say, Liz put her plan into action. Shiloh! She loudly projected the word across the way and then put on an act of casualness, turning her head away from the scene while brushing at the skirt of her dress. In a supremely awkward moment, you could only stand there as attention in the area shifted to the two of you, thanks to your sister's shout. But many of the startled bystanders who came by altered to your presence. One of them was the boy. From a distance, his large eyes met yours. You discovered that gay's the real way? Oh, come on. Not everyone can be gay. But yeah, he looks pretty gay. He looked. A wide grin took over Liz's face. She pushed the rim of her sun hat and away from her face while swishing back around to greet her old friend directly. Shiloh! Waving, she stepped a bit closer to express her intention to meet without really closing the gap. She wanted him to come to her. Who you presumed to be Shiloh looked surprised at the call-out. He stole a quick glance at the crowd he was with and hesitantly glanced back your way. He was trying to double-check something. Liz remained steadfast with her gaze trained on him, and ultimately he broke away from the rest of them. After a light-footed jog across the brick path, the young man pleasantly presented himself in front of Liz and you. God, she really is an Amazon goddess. Look how tall she is.
Hi.
Oh, don't blush at me. You think you can pull a Derek? Huh? You think you can make me feel bad for you? This hat is a downgrade from the childhood hat. Hi, I like your hat. Just that simple greeting had Liz giggling.
Hey.
Hello, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm Lizzie, and that's Joseph. We were all friends when we were little kids. His already wide eyes grew even larger, their gaze darting between you and Liz. His previously chipper demeanor faded into something delicate. What? I'm really sorry, but I think you have the wrong person. You could tell not being instantly recognized was going to make this exchange more of a challenge. Still, Liz was undeterred. What? But, what? Shiloh, how do you not remember? It was a long time ago. You were really young. I get why you feel like that. However, I'm positive I'm right. You're exactly the same. That face, the freckles, how genially you try to phrase things. You're even still wearing a hat. Instinctively, he looked up at his headwear with creased brows, not making the connection on why the hat meant something to her.
Okay.
We knew each other, okay? An uneasy smile settled on him as silence followed Liz's speech. He was picking his next words carefully. And then the quiet was obliterated by a new voice bursting into the conversation. Shiloh, what are you doing? The rest of the group already left. A field trip is not a vacation. We are on a schedule. Startled, your head snapped towards the path. A distinctly unhappy individual with piercing magenta eyes, dark brown skin, and a sharp jaw stormed your way. He carried a cloud of authority with him, despite looking like he wasn't even 18 yet. Oh, great.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to ditch. Shiloh, whose name was now officially confirmed, gestured with a hand to add to the explanation of his absence as the stranger watched him patiently. They thought they recognized me as someone they knew, but it was a tiny misunderstanding. Liz theoretically, as well as literally, put her foot down at that, stomping in frustration and getting more childish the longer she was around her childhood companion. Girl, your name is Shiloh. We're not confused. It's you.
Come on.
We do know you. Shiloh merely shrunk in on himself. The tone he spoke with was pained. Sorry. You honestly couldn't tell if he was apologizing for the upset feelings of your sister or the palpable dissatisfaction of his new acquaintance. That in itself is very Shiloh-like. Oh, you know him, is that it? The stranger spoke in a dismissively scoffing tone, as if the words sounded so absurd to him that it was almost amusing. Almost, but the sternness of his demeanor quickly reinstated itself. Not him thinking we're delusional. Yeah, that's what he's going with. Well, do you know me? I'll tell you. I'm someone who has been forced against his will to be aware of what's going on in Shiloh's ridiculous personal life for a year. What? If the two of you had any importance in his general day-to-day existence, it would have come up by now. Who are you? Don't bother trying to exaggerate any trivial connection you might have. It's not good enough. He's with us and you'll survive without him. Now stop loitering in the road. It's rude. Is he in a cult? No, legitimately, is he in a cult? Is he part of a cult right now? Hello? Hello?
Excuse me?
Is he in a cult? I'm not even kidding. Like, what? Excuse me? We're the rude ones? The high-strung ranting got an audible gasp from Shiloh, who finally started to speak up in defense. Nate, that's really mean. It's also true. We're leaving. With that declaration, are we gonna have to break Shiloh free of a cult in this step? Girls, is that what we have to do? With that declaration, the unofficially introduced Nate indignantly spun on his heels and walked speedily towards where the group went, completely confident that Shiloh would follow behind. Oh, people sure can have bad attitudes, huh? Why can't they just try to get along? It's not hard. Don't worry though, I bet you won't have to deal with him again. And I'm sorry I can't stay to talk to you, but I hope you have a really nice life.
Bye.
Shiloh simped twice if you're being held against your will. No, he only simped once. He only complimented her hat, and that was, he complimented her hat, I think, and that was it. So, simped once. It wasn't it. It wasn't it. They're from the developer's other game? Who are? The Cult Boys? And that was it. His final parting words given. Shiloh left the two of you behind to catch up with his own life that he had to go live. Liz watched his exit, stunned only to frown when it hit her that he was really gone as quickly as he appeared. It happened so fast, you hadn't really been able to get a word in. Yeah, we didn't even say hi to him. She sighed, all the energy she built up releasing with the breath. I could have told him his last name was Fields. His birthday's October 30th. That would have proved it, but no. Wow, Shiloh grew up to be dumb. Whoever Nate is, he sucks. He was so unnecessarily unpleasant when all you wanted to do was talk to someone for a moment. Shiloh, Jeremy, and Nate are all from the other game? Interesting. Why aren't you running after him? Liz merely shook her head, pushing off childish thoughts. I think we can leave it there, thanks. He's in the middle of a high school field trip, and it was already enough being able to see him. There's something reassuring about witnessing firsthand that he's still out there enjoying his own part of the world. Though if given the chance, I could definitely have a few words with him about the company he's got. She laughed, but you could tell there wasn't much humor to it. She got mad at that guy, even if she was happy to let Shiloh go. Maybe they're only with each other because of the trip, and that's not usually how things are. True, we can only hope the same for him as he did for us. Have a nice life, Shiloh. Bye, Shiloh. We'll miss you. Liz smiled at you. It had the self-confidence you knew so well from her. Come on, little baby bro. Let's finish our own trip. Yeah. No matter how either of you really felt about the occurrence, it was something you simply had to accept. People you know just disappear and reappear in the most unexpected ways. The two of you enjoyed what remained of your outing until it was time to return home. By the time you arrived back, the sun was already beginning to set. You arched your back as you stretched your arms towards the ceiling. While it had been a good day, it had enough activity to cover an entire week. Yes, here's my vampire queen. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind her hands. You weren't the only one feeling worn out. I'll be heading up to your room. I mean, the guest room, since mine stopped being available as soon as I was out the door. Our room is the guest room now? Or is she just being coy? Because we still live here, don't we? Her tone was light. She had quite a lot to say on the subject when you'd first taken over her bigger room after she left for college. Oh, okay, so we took over her room. I see. But there have been many trips back before home. There have been many trips back home for her since then. The room hasn't been hers for years. It was more of a running joke now that she continued to bring up the topic to this day. I just wanted to follow my big sister's shoes. Flattery as a compliment can only go so far, Joseph. A small laugh was shared between you and your older sister. You better believe you'll be back in the guest room when you've got your own place and we're both in town for a visit. Yeah, we can take turns. Thanksgiving, Christmas. What a reasonable and mature suggestion. I'll think about accepting it. She flashed her familiar grin, and you couldn't help but feel glad she was back around, even if it was temporary. With that, she plodded off to the spare room. You were ready to do the same. Moving into a new space was your first opportunity to decorate from scratch. Design your room! Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Alright guys, we are room designers today. Well, I guess let's start with the layout. I don't know what else to do. Okay, well, layout. Oh, okay. We got some different colors out here. Okay, so I'll tell you what I don't like. I hate this purple. Whatever's going on with this purple, I am not feeling it. Hate that. The blue, similar to the purple in the layout, but you know, it's not as bad. But I don't like the blue. I don't like the blue. I don't like that. So I think it's between the green and the yellow. Why is my bed so small and green? Crazy. You know, I'm going with yellow. We're gonna enjoy that. We're gonna enjoy that. Let's see. Extras. We can put up trophies? Girl, I don't have any trophies. Let's pretend that don't exist. We can put up some books. No, actually, let's just leave the... Oh, I see. There are multiple options here. I just have to keep clicking it. Okay. We can put up some plants. Oh, we can put up some teddy bears. That's kind of cute. Let's do it. Ugh, this room looks so good already. Alright. Wall. Okay. What? That's a weird... What are these pictures? These are some weird pictures. Like, no? Okay, so the lights takes away some of that stuff, but we'll put out some lights. Alright. Let's see, we can put down a ball, but I ain't kicking no ball. Yeah, this is good enough for me. You are really satisfied with the feel of your tiny part in the world. As your thoughts drifted, you tried to bite down another yawn. It was no good. Your bed was now lodged in your mind, and all you could think about was collapsing on it. You wish your room looked like that? Redecorate, sis. You trudged up the stairs to your room. Stepping inside, you closed the door behind you, blocking the rest of the house. When you turned back around, you realized you were not alone there. Comfortably perched on the windowsill was someone very familiar to you. Uh-oh. Oh, what are you doing? Hi. Oh my god, why is he so beautiful? Oh my god, do you... Oh my god, I wanna spread or stretch that tank top out of the way and just see his erect nipples, and I wanna suck on them. I wanna suck on them until he fucking milks in my mouth. Oh my lord, Cove. Oh, why is he so precious? You know, We've thirsted enough for Cove. Cove Holden. And how did you get in here? Did my moms let you in here? The shock knocked all the words out of you. Oh yeah, and wasn't he also on a trip with his mom? So this should be very shocking for us. Surprise? His tone was easy and relaxed. It certainly was a surprise. You hadn't expected him to be within the state, never mind your own house. He hadn't answered how he had suddenly just appeared back in Sunset Bird, though to be fair, you'd been too astounded to actually ask the question. Thankfully, Cove took the hint from your stunned expression and began to explain.
So...
I got in about 15 minutes ago. No one was home, so I figured I'd come in the usual way. You broke in! The window. A small smile had formed on his face. You were still staring at him, unable to blink in case he disappeared. You could still barely believe he was really there, a mere feet away from you. I left my bags in your backyard. I hope that's alright. That was when you truly understood. Kobe had come straight to you upon getting back to town. You were his first port of call, taking precedence above all else. Damn straight. Even though you hadn't been in when he called, Kobe ensured that he'd see you on the earliest opportunity, rather than allowing his plans to change. You stayed frozen. You walked over to join him. I ran to Cove. I ran the 5 feet over to him in my room. Every second away from him was a moment too long. You approached Cove quickly, hopped from the windows. As you approached, Cove quickly hopped from the windowsill to meet you. You're crazy, I missed you. Trouble's back in town. I can't believe my eyes. It's the most amazing man in the world. You jumped into his arms. I jumped into his arms. I kissed him? Ugh. Yeah, we kissed him. Cove then ducked his head as if trying to dodge your overwhelming compliment. The whole world is a little much, Joseph. Oh, look at him. What a little baby. Oh, wish I could pinch his cheeks. I don't think it is. He lowered his voice. You live in the world too, you know, so it definitely can't be true. You felt your face burn with color. Thankfully, Cove didn't press the point. He instinctively began to close his eyes as your face leaned in closer to his. You did it on the forehead, on the nose. Girl, we're doing on the lips. He met you partway and the two of you shared a gentle greeting kiss. You then stepped back a little. No, I want to spit in his mouth, you know? I want to get a little kinky out here. Cove rubbed the side of his head and furtively glanced down. I want to like spit in his mouth, grab his junk, twist it, push him onto the bed. You know, yeah. Though he couldn't help getting a little nervous still, he was beaming. I missed you. Even if he hadn't said it outright, you would have gotten the message from his body language. Cove was grinning widely, his raised cheeks burying his eyes, which gleamed like hidden gems. But he looked at you as if you were the most exciting treasure of all. Obviously, was the trip any good? Cove's brow creased as he considered your question. He leaned in and kissed you again. Oh, you want some more love? I'll give you some. After a long moment, he broke the kiss and tilted his face back just enough to speak, but not so much that your forehead stopped touching. Twist it, poor Cove. He likes a little bit of pain. I can tell he's a sub. I hated it. Let's never be apart again, okay? He said that absolutely as a joke, an exaggeration. Something that wasn't a real request, of course, and yet despite all that, it felt real. Your heart hammered in your chest. Your head swam, cast adrift on a tide of thoughts and adrenaline. Cove smiled as if offering a silent apology for his sudden onslaught of tenderness, but he let the words proudly hang in the air all the same. Cove told you about how his trip back had gone. Soon you'd even recovered enough to actually listen. His mom was doing really well. She had a project in the works that she was thrilled about. As a result, Cove was going to be sticking around in Sunset Bird for the time being. Things were settled as much as they could ever be. With Cove back once more, you felt at ease. Cove stretched his arm out over his head, his eyes on the window and the world beyond. The sun had set while you'd been busy reuniting.
Well,
I should probably get my stuff and see Dad. I'm your daddy, Cove. Where are you going? He glanced over to you with a familiar, expectant look. Wanna come with me? Alright, we'll see how the years have treated your hot dad.
cool.
Cove began to head to your bedroom door. A little pain feels amazing, especially ball play, but you have to ask, it's not for everyone. I see you do ball play. Very nice, Brilchan. Very nice. You followed after him. We won't make him do a piggyback ride. He's probably tired from his trip. The two of you casually went down to the ground floor of your house. In all the excitement of Cove's return, you hadn't even remembered the gift you'd prepared for when he got back. It would be best to give it to him now before he left your house. Can you wait here for a little while? I got you something. Cove tilted his head, intrigued.
Really?
You nodded with some eagerness, trying to imagine how he'd react when he actually saw it. I bought him something special. We don't do non-monetary gifts in this house. It was... dolphin-shaped balloon. A new fish for his aquarium. A box of... an anklet for you to model for him. Fruit bouquet. These are all clearly... you know, have to do with our memories together. A new fish for his aquarium. You headed back up to your room, grateful that Cove hadn't spotted your present before now. The little container that was the temporary home for this new fish was waiting there for you, just as you'd left it. Very carefully, you cradled it in your arms to make the journey downstairs. You slowly descended the stairs, adjusting your grasp when you reached the ground floor so you could hold it out before you for Cove to admire. Cove gasped, placing a hand over his mouth, and bent down to watch the fish more closely. You could see his expression through the clear container, his eyes wide and adoring. You let Cove take his time admiring the fish in silence. A few moments later, after he'd taken his fill, he looked up at you with a joyful grin.
Wow.
She'll fit in perfectly with my tank. She looks great. He can tell the gender of a fish just by looking at it. He took the container from you, securing the base first and cautiously lifting it from your hands, before resting it beside him on the counter. He brushed his fingers lightly against the top of the container, the closest he could get to petting his new companion, then he turned back to you. Oh my god, why is he crying? Cove, calm down. Cove turned to look at the fish. You thought he was just admiring her again, but as the moment stretched out, you wondered if it was something more. Though his face was angled away from you, you caught his eyelashes fluttering as if battling tears. His throat bobbed as he swallowed bubbling emotions. Scorpius is asking what I'm eating. Could he even understand the answer? I'm eating pasta. You knew that Cove would be sentimental. The gift and all the memories and feelings tied up in it seemed to have taken a toll on him. When he began to sniffle, you felt the need to reach out. Cove?
Joseph.
Oh, that was nice. Say Joseph again. Hi, Trony.
Joseph. Joseph. Joseph.
I can't. You just... Joseph, I don't know what to do. He forcefully scrubbed at his eyes like he was trying to push the tears that threatened to spill back in. They get a thirsty stream and a food stream, so much fun content, Kuro. Goodness. Oh, Cove, it's okay. Do you need to cry? No. You're crying! Oh god, I've told you guys plenty of times before that boys crying, when a guy is crying, it turns me on. So, this is nice. Nevertheless, tears had begun to spill down his cheeks. Even as he wiped them away, more took their place. Thank you. His voice quavered? Quavered. Not quivered? Quavered. I've never heard of quavered. Cove reached out. You gladly stepped forward to meet him. He laid his warm hands against your cheek and brought his lips to you. You kissed Cove until the need for air finally went out. Head spinning, you were glad of the security of Cove's hands. Even after your lips had parted, Cove remained close, his hands still framing your face. You're such a crybaby. Cove let out a steady breath. It was far removed from the shaky gasps that had accompanied his sniffles. The tears had dried out. His eyes were a little red, but open and at peace once again. He smiled, fully recovered from the emotion that had overcame him. You're really seriously too nice for me. You smiled back. You have no right to call anyone else too nice. Cove brushed his hand against the pale ghost of a scar on his arm. He was at a loss for what to do now. The clock ticked away, counting the seconds of silence. Once you'd had a chance to settle your thoughts, you'd figured you'd tell Cove the intriguing news. I have to tell you, you're never gonna guess who I saw today. You didn't give Cove a chance to reply. There seriously was no way he would figure it out. Shiloh.
Huh?
Shiloh? Cove repeated the name, his expression blank. Don't tell me you've been hit with the memory forgetting ray too. From when we were kids. Cove pondered for a moment, then snapped his fingers. Oh, he was the freckly boy from that first summer, right? The one who moved. The guy was named Shiloh, and he looked just like Shiloh from back then, even wearing a hat still. But he had no idea who I was and ran off somewhere. Cove frowned. That's, I don't know. Too bad I missed it, though you knew him better than I did. That was definitely true. Not only had Cove known Shiloh for a shorter period of time, but he and Shiloh had never quite gotten along. Not that they were enemies either, just kids who were only ever together because of other people they knew. I wonder what Shiloh's up to these days. I think he's in a cult. We kind of just left him there. It was actually kind of messed up. I don't have any idea. He didn't say much.
Oh.
Oh, well. That was everything you had on that news item, so you moved on to the next big update. Also, you know the mean old neighbors? The ones who would always yell at us? He cringed recalling those particular memories of back in the day. Wait, he cringed recalling those particular memories of back in the day was not pleasant, even for someone as nostalgic as him. Yeah. They're not coming. They didn't rent the condo this summer. Cove's jaw dropped. You didn't blame him. The elderly couple had been an institution for as far back as you could remember, long predating Cove's arrival. Even now, as a teenager, you found your neck prickling as you walked by their condo, half expecting a scolding for breathing the wrong way in the vicinity of their vacation home. It was strange to think of that coming to an end. Wow. Cove blinked, clearly struggling with the idea in the same way you had. I didn't see that coming. People being gone, people coming back. It feels like I've missed a lot. This has been a busy summer already. Well, you haven't missed the fireflies. They haven't even shown up yet. Well, that's something, and we better not get left behind. There's still stuff to do. You nodded. The two of you headed out and traced the most familiar path you'd ever walked. The trip across the road over to Cove's house. It seemed that no sooner had the night begun than it was already at an end, and the dawn of a new day was soon upon you. The next morning, your belly was full of breakfast, and you were in a pleasant mood. You hoped the rest of the day followed suit. Later, you were meeting up with your friends, Cove, Miranda, and Terry to go into town. It was all on short notice, but that was because everyone was just so excited that Cove was finally back home. Having a nice daydream? You blinked, pushing all your thoughts away and returning to reality. Your mom was watching you with a teasing smile.
All right.
So, what's on the agenda today? I'm meeting up with some people. Well, I hope you and your friends have fun. Don't get into too much trouble. She winked at you. You knew both of your moms wanted you to enjoy every bit of the summer before all of the big changes started. You thought I heard you prick... Wait, I thought I heard your prickling, but it was neck. It would be funny... Wow, that sentence just threw me for a loop. Oh, hello, Makahadama. Can't wait for Cove to grow up again and give him a goatee? Ew! Ew, ew, ew! No goatees. Not in my house. No, no, no. Nasty. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jermel. That was not... You can have a goatee. It's not nasty. Yeah, sorry. Anyway. She winked at you. No, worry about that. I'll try.
That'd be great.
But before you go gallivanting around the town, could you bring the mail in? I'm finishing up putting the dishes away over here. Alright. Thanks very much. Hey, why is his dad still so young? Alrighty. As soon as you were outside your front door, you couldn't help but see Cove and his dad standing around in the road. They noticed you too.
Hey.
Hey there, Joseph. Hi, good timing. You should come join us. Well, let's not kiss him in front of his dad. Here, we can give him a noogie. In a flash, you hooked your arm around his neck and pulled him down to receive your finest noogie. Cove smiled until you were done. You laughed. Happy now? Very. You noticed Mr. Holden was taking in the scene of you with Cove with a self-satisfied smile. Tove followed your line of sight and shot his dad an unimpressed look. For a moment, Mr. Holden seemed like he had a thought dancing on the tip of his tongue, but he decided to keep it to himself.
So,
What are you up to today? Me and Cove are meeting some friends later. We're gonna paint the town red. Exciting. They won't know it hit them. What is a remboy? Yeah, what is a remboy? Femboy. Oh. Cove shook his head disapprovingly, but you knew him well enough that he was entertained by your notion. I do not like femboys either. I do not like femboys. I hate femboys. I'm sorry, I hate everything, apparently. I hate everything. Yawning, Mr. Holden stretches his arms over his head. My boy and I have just been waiting around to see what the new neighbors are like. It was definitely his idea. I don't know how you're not interested in this. It's big news. Besides, it'd only be polite to greet the new folks in town. Alright. Maybe it'll be a single dad and his son. Let's see, you've been in here too long, you're seeing a new person around a con is what you consider an exciting development. Maybe we do a single dad and his son. Cove snorted some airy laughter at the suggestion.
oh?
We know you're picky, Kuro. I'm not picky, I just... Some of y'all's taste is not good. You think we'll have some competition? For several moments, Mr. Holden was unable to answer. He was still chuckling when he put his hands on his hips and tried to compose himself.
Nah.
You're broad pants, so it'd be... And you're thirsty, so... It would be hard to find someone you would say no to. Twinks are cute, but older gays less judging and more open to being with a disabled partner. I see. Absolutely not. We're not the #1 father-son duo in this town, and no one's changing that. How has Holden not gotten hitched again? It's been 15 years? Yeah, I don't know. Mr. Holden took one more glance at the currently vacant building and sighed dramatically. When he turned back to you and Cove, his whole body seemed deflated. There's no sign of them, and I still need to head over to work soon. Cove gave his dad a few reassuring pats on the back. Okay, I promise to keep an eye out. I can text you if anything happens. Really?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Only until I have to meet up with Terry and Miranda. Would that still work? With a wide grin breaking out on his face, Mr. Holden looked absolutely thrilled to have his nosiness enabled. That works. He moved to firmly place both hands over Cove's shoulders, fixing his child with a firm stare. Son, you truly are my ally in this world. Mr. Holden stood up straighter, letting Cove go. He looked invigorated. Okay, with that settled, I'll go make some money. That's always been the one thing I do best. Mr. Holden headed off to the garage with a big wave goodbye. Cove smiled the whole time you both watched his dad leave. Let's see, he doesn't want marriage anymore? Or he just wants to have one-night stands at work. Okay. You really liked Mr. Holden. I liked him. You had for a long time. As soon as he's out of sight, Cove sighed lightly. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, just not looking forward to waiting. Guess I'll be hanging around the street for a while. Good luck, see you later, bye. Also, I can wait with you, why don't I stay to see the new neighbor and keep you company? Curiosity about the new tenant was getting the better of you, and you figured that the wait wouldn't be too much longer. And besides, you just couldn't leave Cove. Really? Of course, I like keeping you company, remember? He stared at you for a moment, smiling softly and thinking about his response.
Me too.
I like that too. Cove put his hands on your shoulders, his thumbs absent-mindedly moved in the soothing circle. The look in his eyes was much firmer. He was serious. Joseph, you're my true ally in this world. That got a fair amount of chuckles from you. He grinned, the stoicism fading into amusement.
Thank you.
You're always good to me. You're lucky to have me. Yeah, you're lucky to have me. Teasingly, Ko raised an eyebrow. You're the most lucky guy in all of Sunset Bird. Luckiest. For a moment, you weren't sure if Ko was laughing at your declaration, or that you had momentarily forgot the word luckiest. Either way, you didn't mind. The smile on his face reached his eyes, and it made you feel electric. And then he let go of you. Ko stepped over to his front porch steps, lazily taking a seat and leaning back on his arms. Our watch begins. Nodding in agreement, you joined Ko on the front porch steps. You both sat there in comfortable familiarity as you settled in for the waiting game on the new tenants. The neighborhood was quiet, and you sighed contentedly, closing your eyes and feeling the light breeze. Eventually, you both perked up at the sound of a car, a taxi following the noise, turning on your street. Ko's eyebrows raised at that sight. He sat up straight on the stoop.
Oh?
This has to be them, right? The only people who come out here live here, it has to be. Now that they were here, you couldn't help but feel just a bit curious. You wondered what kind of person would be living in the neighborhood for the summer. The taxi pulled to a stop as you expected in front of the now empty condo. It was on the same side of the street as your house, a few buildings further up. Without getting to his feet, Ko tried leaning and tilting his head to get a view of the passenger doors that opened. The single occupant exited the cab. Huh? You could feel what Ko was in that moment. After the last renters, this new visitor was definitely not exactly what you had expected. Oh my god, it's our cute, hot boy. Ugh. Oh yes, this is Baxter, I think. Alright, so. It was a young man. It had to be close to your age. He was dressed fully in an eclectic black, white, and gray outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the scheme. The only other pop of color was from something that couldn't be easily fashioned into submission. A pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience. Oh god, I don't even know what kind of voice to give him. Okay. Hello, folks. Who might you be? We're the neighbors. The smile already prominent on his face curled further. It was cocky, but you didn't get the impression it meant something adverse. You bet he has an OnlyFans? You know he does. Want to play Fortnite? That could definitely come right out of his mouth. Hallelujah. You and Ko shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. The color-coordinated man left it there, however, and with a firm click, he shut the door of his ride. He then turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly black suitcase out of the trunk. Continuing on with his own business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped on the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down. You can meet Baxter at the dance at the teen years. Wait, so we could have... You mean at the soiree? We could have met Baxter there? If you don't romance Cove and don't take Cove to the dance at the golf club. Wow. Crazy. Different timelines, man. When it opened, he leaned down and rested his arm on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped them a tip during the brief chat. They shook hands, and he pushed himself up and away from the taxi, with both arms giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around the corner. The new renter had officially arrived. See, like, he looks especially Asian with, in this. Right? He left his suitcase on the ground, out of the way of the street, and sauntered over your way with the confidence of someone who had been invited to join. Ko finally stood up to greet this person. You followed suit.
Excellent.
I guess that's his official voice. But he's British. where I'm from. I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet you, neighbors. You were standing on the side he was approaching from. When Baxter got close enough, he offered his hand to you first. Ooh, yeah, you see the prime piece of meat. It's me. Alright. I'm actually moving down leagues being with Cove. Yeah, let's shake it. Why would I offer a hug to a stranger? We'll just shake his hand. Baxter gripped your hand firmly to give a satisfying shake. Welcome to Sunset Bird, Baxter. I'm Joseph. You figured he had a rich boy voice? But he is not romanceable yet. There'll be a DLC for Baxter. I know, it's sad. I want him now, but we shall have to wait. Just like we shall have to wait for Derek? I think that was his name. Hey Joseph, I'm quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. We could be good friends. From your other side, Cove made a sudden sputtering noise. And you are. He lifted his hand out to Cove next. Hugging strangers? That ain't it. Cove shook his hand, still eyeing Baxter carefully. I'm Cove. Baxter's whole demeanor lit up for unknown reasons. His eyes shone as he studied Cove for a moment.
Really?
Now wait, is that a nickname or your real name? It's just my name. Cove spoke mildly, having given that explanation many times in the past, but it clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side with a laugh. Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. Excuse me, I had a... Let me reread that line. Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name for the face I'm seeing. Cove, that's gorgeous.
What?
Kissing strangers? I mean, you never know. Other cultures, let's not be culturist. Derek turns from the cutest twink to a muscle boy. You missed the cute Derek. Yeah. I looked at a step 4 version and I'm like, not that into it. Not that into it, you know? It's really not. No, I agree, it suits you. Hey, only I get to fluster him. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do that? It wasn't my intention. Baxter grinned welcomingly. The entire conversation brought a burning red blush to Cove's face, and he couldn't make eye contact with either of you. You noticed that Baxter looked apologetic over Cove's increased discomfort. I'm sorry, it wasn't intended to mean more than it did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patently against stepping on anyone's toes. No, I feel like he has some real trickster energy to him, and he's gonna try to break me and Cove up. Because he wants a piece of me. He chuckled to himself. It seemed like there was some extra meaning hidden in there in his words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on that too. Baxter didn't even open his eyes to see your faces to know he had some filling to do. He stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position on his feet. Oh, okay. I'm a ballroom dancer. Here's the phrasing. You would love a three-way with Baxter and Cove, but Cove doesn't seem like he'd be into it. Baxter seems very much into flirting in three-ways. His smile reminds you of Holden. Oh, I don't know that much about dancing, but that's pretty cool. It's not hard once you get the basics down. Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking.
Well.
He grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you. If either of you are ever looking for a partner, I'm available. Cove peeked at you, smiling softly. Yeah, sure, why not? Sorry, Cove. You felt his familiar touch as he squeezed your hand for a moment. I already have a partner. Joseph is the only one I'd want to dance with. Sorry, he's my boyfriend. Oh, Cove. I already said I'd dance with him. You're both together? Yes, we are. Now that's crushing, but makes sense. I got here too late. Should have taken a semester off sooner.
I get it.
That's a joke, really. I didn't mean to intrude on anything you have with the offer. Let's see. I'll take you up on that offer sometime. Cove rolled his eyes at your agreement, coming right after his refusal. Cove, I just want to learn how to dance a little. Wait, you remember back at the soiree? You were like a fish out of water.
Does that sound alright?
I just want to dance with someone who knows what they're doing. I really am qualified to give lessons.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. After that, there was a lull in the conversation and Cove attempted to fill it.
So...
What made you decide on Sunset Bird? Oh yes, well, my parents rented a condo, so I had a place to stay while I'm off for a semester from college, and not living in the dorms. There was a playful glint in Baxter's eyes as he continued.
Honestly...
Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but lucky for me, they picked the wrong street, considering the two of you live here. Girl, we're just gay. Did that make the whole place exciting? Baxter then preemptively lifted his hands up in front of his chest, giving the gesture for meaning no harm. It's not nice to be the only one my age around the neighborhood for an entire summer, nothing more. That was a story you had heard before. The same one as when Lonely Cove and his dad moved in all those years ago. Cove wasn't relating still. You could have phrased it like that in the first place. I don't feel the need to keep words of praise to myself, but they're not romantic come-ons. I see that you two are very much a committed pair. I'd like to be friends if we can, but that's all. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that with me. I'm finding it pretty entertaining. You probably annoy a lot of people. I find it pretty entertaining. Baxter laughed at that. Glad we're working out. Shifting his weight to the other foot, Baxter tried to move forward.
So...
Which condo is yours? How long have you been living together? Oh no. Cove sputtered again and unintentionally a laugh escaped you.
That's...
We're both your neighbors, but we live in different houses with our parents. As if second nature, the two of you pointed to your homes, the buildings directly across the street from each other. Baxter's eyebrows raised at that. Your neighbors who started dating? What a couple of lovebirds. You're the backbone of romantic society. Honestly, I hope you never break up. If you can make it work, there might be a chance for the rest of us. You knew Cove well enough to tell there was a little bit of amusement in his expression, but he sighed in exasperation. After that, you had no doubts about his claims of being complimentary. You were really starting to get a kick out of it. Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer. But we can save the schedule talk for later. I should get my things inside. He gave a small nod of his head and flashed you both a dazzling smile.
Goodbye.
Goodbye for today. Bye. Cove gave a small wave as well. Bye. Baxter turned on his heels and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Cove were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside the house. So that dude was pretty hot, huh, Cove? What did you think? With him completely out of the scene, Cove let out a long breath.
Well...
I don't know how I'm gonna explain that guy to my dad. You burst into a fit of laughter, trying to imagine the conversation. At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor and now we can go meet up with Terry and Miranda. Yeah, we should go get going. You gave Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. Why did a few of those lines sound really weak? Like the falter. Are you calling out my voice acting? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll try harder. I don't know why you're coming after me. God. I'm sorry. Okay, fine. Let me take a little drink of water. Let me try to get in the zone. Because apparently what I'm doing on here isn't good enough for Maka Hanama. Alright. Let's see. You thought he gave a pretty... You decided it was definitely... You weren't sure how to feel. You were not interested. You thought he was charming. He's charming. You really weren't sure when, but at some point Baxter won you over. You were curious to get to know him better. You meant from him, not you? I see. Laughing quietly, you wondered how Baxter would fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. You took his hand, you took his arm. We'll take his arm. Smiling at him, you hooked your arm around his. Cove hummed happily in response. A little while later, you and Cove reached a main street in town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. What's wrong? I think I heard my phone. You dug your cell phone out and looked at it with a satisfied grin. There was a new message. You opened a new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, "I can see you." Immediately, from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. Uh-oh. I saw you holding Cove's arm. Scandalous. Where are you? Haha, come on. Ellipses. Really, Randy? The message was sent, and you were back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement and familiar faces, but they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. You burst into laughter at her antics. You sent your own joking text. You grabbed onto Cove again, wanting to show Miranda how scandalous you could be. Let's grab his cheeks, spread him apart right on the road. At once, you hooked your arms around his neck, still holding your phone, and brought him even closer to you. He blushed and gave you a look mixed with amusement and confusion. Seriously, Joseph? What did that message even say? Before you could even begin to explain anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming out from behind the backside of the wall of the grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Oh. With your friend's grand entrance made, Cove seemed to realize the joke. He smiled with a sigh and you let him go for a moment, chuckling. Cove took a step in their direction, grinning. He put his hands around his mouth to better project his message across the street. Hey. Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street.
Hi.
Hi, I hope you weren't waiting too long.
Hey, buddies.
Hey, Terry. This is a new one entirely, new character entirely. Hi. The joke was not funny. I'm amazed. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? I thought you knew better than to jaywalk. Even if it was an open road in a small town, it was still illegal. They took matching tones with an apologetic lilt. Lilt? What the heck is a lilt? Anyway, I thought that was gonna come out jokingly. I don't care if someone jaywalks.
Me too.
Sorry, Joseph. I don't even know what kind of voice to give Miranda. Me too, sorry. I don't even know what to give her. Sorry, sis. You're coming late to the party. You know? You can't come after you're like the 20th character in this game. You can't expect a fresh voice, a new voice for you. Anyway. Alright, though you shouldn't do it again. Wait, which one's Terry again? The one on the right. From this moment forward, we'll use the crosswalk, cross our hearts. Lilt is just a type of tone. Okay, interesting. Terry then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug. You're finally here. It's been so long. What took you? He did his best to eke out a reply with his chest being compressed.
Sorry.
Eventually, she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifted her weight to her other hip. She watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either.
So?
Cove. Terry picked Cove square in the chest. You're gonna have to get me your schedule by this time yesterday.
No way.
Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you that I'm busy with Orca activities. Orca? When Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his athletic and academic interests, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California affiliation, Orca. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. Sure, we're in Orca. The bigs... Oh. Whoops. Their big smash event for the year is coming up, right? Isn't it? You should be a comedian, Kuro? Interesting. I don't know about that. He already is, but he could do stand-up. What the hell? Yeah, there's not much more to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two. And even if it goes really badly, it'll still look good on a college application at least. That's true.
Hey!
Hey, guess what? We don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go. I would like a meal now. Perking up, Cove nodded in agreement. Yeah, I'm hungry. Time to head out. The four of you headed into town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in a blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was light enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. Kuro, do a stand-up routine for Patreon. You'll raise your tier for it. You guys are crazy. You were walking tiredly after such a long day. You strolled with a skip in your step. You ambled along. No, Cove gives a piggyback ride now. He's not tired anymore. It's the next day. It was a long day out and about. You appreciated that you could rely on him to make things more comfortable for you. You tightened your grip on Cove and turned your head ever so slightly, peering at his face out of the corner of your eyes. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. For a while, Cove silently stared ahead and left you alone with your thoughts. It surprised you when you did hear his voice all of a sudden, but he wouldn't look at you. It feels weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same. And they're not. They've changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It was true. Things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You had been considering more and more, and ideas were starting to settle in your mind. You had hoped to go to school full-time, to focus on time that's school or work. I don't know, I guess to go to school. And that was the basics. For your education, you thought you'd... well, I mean, we can go to community college first. We don't need to... be doing, you know... and a public university, I guess. And that was all. And for that, you wanted to... well, I don't feel like going anywhere. God, I hate going places. It would all be happening so soon. You'd already applied to schools. And you'd been open about your situation. And you'd only ever spoken about this with family and those close to you like Cove. Now you wondered what Cove had in mind. You'd heard him consider some things for his future, but it was never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Cove stopped in the middle of the street. He sighed and put you down. You were both outside of your houses. Cove looked at the ground for a moment. His mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right words to say. So, are you still thinking about going to school and stuff in Sunset Bird? Yeah, you remembered. Cove closed his eyes and nodded, while he composed his thoughts. He looked at you when he lifted his head.
I mean...
I decided on something. Well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm, and then his expression grew more mysterious. I'm not going to decide on a school or career. Not this summer. I'm going to stay here. At least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff and everything else.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll know what I want for myself by fall or next year. Or maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. I'm not gonna crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. I'm not gonna crush myself trying to have everything figured out. I already read that. His brow furrowed and his tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations were weighing on him.
I guess
it'll be me and you right here for a while longer. His eyes were glossy. You weren't going to be separated, and that meant a very great deal to him. Your plans sound very you. You're glad that two of you... Someone not surprised. You weren't... Yeah, sounds very you. Cove grinned. He looked relieved that you understood. I think so too. I'll see you tomorrow, Joseph. I'm already looking forward to it. Night. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been a more reassuring feeling. You returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could.
Good night.
He finally let go, giving you another smile. Then Cove started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. You watched him and wondered how many more times he will be able to say that he'll see you tomorrow. You hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most out of every moment you had this summer. Alrighty.